By the end of practice today in St. Joseph, one Kansas City pass rusher gave Chiefs Kingdom its first real look at something this roster's been missing for years. I went through every rep, every quote, and every injury report from today so you don't have to. Before we even get into the football, today's practice had its own little soap opera going on with the weather. Lightning showed up in the area and pushed the Chiefs indoor for a team install period. Fans who'd been standing out there in the rain got sent packing right along with the players. Then, once the lightning cleared up, the team marched back outside to finish practice like nothing had happened. And the fans that just got kicked out of there got let right back in through the gates. So somewhere out there today, there's a group of Chiefs Kingdom faithful who got rained on, kicked out, and then waved back in all before the offense even got to the good stuff. If that's not a St. Joseph training camp tradition, I don't know what is. Let's start with the injury report, because there's actually more good news in it than bad. Cyrus Allen, Xavier Worthy, and Ashton Gelati were all held out again today, but the word from inside the building is that all three are trending in the right direction. And that's the kind of update that you want to hear with your speed at receiver and pass rush both on the line. Keep that receiver room in the back of your mind because it comes up a little bit later in this video. Christian Fulton didn't practice either, dealing with a hip flexor. That's a name worth tracking because cornerback depth is exactly the kind of thing that gets exposed in real games later in the season, not in July, and we all know he's made of glass. Jeffrey Bossa didn't finish the session. He left early with a groin strain, and out of everything on today's report, that's the one with the least amount of clarity attached to it right now. Then there's Drew Tranquil. He showed up in the training tent midway through practice, which is never where you want to see your starting linebacker, especially with the room so thin. By the final team period, though, he was only standing off to the side, and the read from people on the ground was that it's nothing serious, just a back spasm or something. If that holds true, there's absolutely nothing to worry about there. Now, here's the story I was talking about at the top. R. Mason Thomas went one-on-one with starting left tackle Josh Simmons twice today, and both times he won. Simmons is a good tackle, though. That's not in question, and that's exactly why this matters. Beating a quality lineman like that isn't a fluke, and it's the kind of thing Chiefs Kingdom's been waiting years to see out of an edge rusher on this roster. Simmons himself said it best afterwards, calling Thomas extremely explosive, saying you almost have to be offsides just to handle him, and that he's going to keep tackles on their toes all season long.
Extremely explosive. You almost have to be offsides to kind of stay in front of him, so I think he'll definitely keep me in any tackle on their toes to make sure you're on the snap count for sure.
When the offensive lineman losing the rep is the one that's hyping you up, that tells you everything you need to know about where this pass rush could be heading to. Quick ask before we keep on going. If camp wrap-ups like this are what you come here for, smash that like button and hit hype too. We're chasing 600 likes and 25,000 hype on this one, and every single tap gets us there faster. And if you're not subscribed yet, let's fix that right now because you don't want to miss anything else that comes out of St. Joe. Simmons wasn't just talking about the guys giving him trouble either. He was asked about veteran right guard Trey Smith. He called him one of the bigger role models he's had coming into the league, and he said that he's tried taking pieces from Smith's game and building it into his own. Now, stick with me because the receiver room isn't done making noise today either. Rashee Rice took his first 11-on-11 reps of training camp today. Then he added a rep in a contact drill, catching a bubble screen in traffic, and by the end of practice, he'd hauled in a touchdown pass from Patrick Mahomes down at the goal line. Andy Reid was asked about him afterward and kept it pretty simple. Rice got a lot of good reps today, and the plan now is to ease him back in and keep working. That's exactly the tone you want to hear if you've been waiting on this all camp. Noah Gray had one of the plays of the day, a toe tap touchdown from Mahomes in the back of the end zone that people on the ground called a perfect throw. And it wasn't just Gray. The tight end room as a whole was getting singled out today, and Andy Reid backed that up when asked about Jake Brenningstool, saying he's a good receiver who stuck his nose in there and started blocking too, and that the team needs to keep him stacking days like that. Mahomes to Kelce in 7-on-7 got people talking as well, described as a great individual effort from Kelce on the rep. If you've heard anyone bringing up his weight this offseason, this is the kind of clip that quiets that down pretty quickly. Reid had praise for a couple of other names too. Asked about receivers Andrew Armstrong and Jimmy Holiday, he said he likes what Armstrong's been doing, calling him a big kid with speed who's earned the quarterback's trust, and said Holiday has shown real progress over the last few days.
Listen, I like what Armstrong's doing. Big kid, strong. Looks like the quarterback trusts him, both of them, top two guys. They trust him on his route running. He's got good speed for a big kid and good transition. He's not stiff coming out of breaks, and that's important. Then Jimmy's the other one. You know, Jimmy is same thing. He's he's really shown the last few days here, and that's important for him and his job.
And on the defensive side, Reed singled out Jack Cochran for his understanding of every position on that side of the ball, saying you need a couple of guys like that on the roster. On the backup side, Justin Fields had a full day of his own. He found Brashard Smith wide open on a crossing route for a touchdown, and Smith was getting a heavy dose of snaps and slot looks throughout practice. Fields also connected with rookie running back Emmett Johnson for a completion. It wasn't a perfect day for the group, though. Kader Kohu broke up a separate pass from Fields intended for Smith, and that's a kind of rep worth remembering, too, because summer stat lines only tell half the story. Harrison Butker went 10 for 10 in a field goal period, then missed one wide left later in a long drive drill during team possession. He answered right back, though, hitting the next attempt right down the middle. Off the field, Butker said he's been focused on gaining his confidence and his in-game timing, treating practice like executing one kick every 20 minutes or so, and he thinks a kickoff approach changed last year may have thrown off his rhythm on PATs and field goals. Now he says he's simplifying it, just focusing on clean ball contact.
So last year, I wasn't dropping down onto that plant foot knee, but I was having to think about it a lot, especially during training camp, and now I don't have to focus on that, so I'm hoping I can focus on things that matter more, smooth swing thoughts, and I think that's been helpful for me to keep it simple and just focus on good ball contact instead of just really focusing in on not dropping down to that knee. I can focus on stuff that probably matters more.
Kenneth Walker had a physical run through the hole with a strong cutback, even though there was a hold called on the play. Fellow running back Amari DiMercato was asked about him and said Walker just wants the best for the room and that everybody there is working together to be the best that they can be. DiMercato also talked about his own role, saying pass protection is where he's found his niche, and that protecting somebody like Mahomes is something he takes real pride in doing.
Shout out to Prize Picks for sponsoring today's episode. Today we're going to do a little NFL Week 1 action. We're going to take Derrick Henry versus the Indianapolis Colts, 0.5 rushing plus receiving touchdowns. We're going more on that. Derrick Henry is getting it into the end zone Week 1. Jamar Chase versus Tampa Bay, 0.5 rushing or receiving touchdowns. We're going to take more on that as well. And then down here at the bottom, I see our boy Kenneth Walker out of the Kansas City Chiefs versus Denver on Monday Night Football, rushing plus receiving touchdowns, 0.5. We're going more there as well. If you want to follow along with all of these picks, follow us at All Chiefed Up on Prize Picks. You can download the app in the description. And as always, use code HMA when signing up. Now back to the show.
And that's everything out of St. Joseph's today, from weather delays to Josh Simmons admitting that one of his own teammates got the better of him twice, our Mason Thomas. If Rashee Rice's first full day back was the moment you were waiting on, hit like on this one so more of this camp coverage finds you. And if you think you know who the starting right tackle is going to be, maybe take a look at this video right here.